Greetings, everybody. It's Brian Terrian here. 4 minutes off of schedule today, but glad to be with everybody. When I usually join these, I start by saying good afternoon, but it's good morning for me. I am participating from the Philippines today, here to meet with our wonderful team in a few days. Looking so forward to that. Thank you, Philip, for being here. Nadine, as always. We have a great show in store for you today. If you've ever wondered, like, what should I not do to like screw it up and lose my benefits, we've simplified it for you into a top five. Actually, I've got a bonus one that would really should be in there. It's six. So we're going to cover those. The six things that you should not do to lose your benefits. And these are a collection of like real life situations in the 19 years that we've been doing this, of what people have done that have caused problems with their benefits. And you work so hard to get them. And then it could really just be one thing that could cause lots of problems. Right. All
Yep,
right. What else are we going to do today? Philip, you have from the fastest growing Facebook group on the planet Earth, you've got some questions over there.
got some questions. Sure did.
Good. Good ones, I hope, as always.
Think so.
Yes, and Nadine will have some Q&A today. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so we're gonna have some live Q&A via Zoom later. So I'll go ahead and post the link later in the show.
Okay, so that's great. So that means that if you have questions out there, let's just dig into it so people clearly understand. They might be some newbies out there. They could actually how they can communicate their questions and get them answered with us.
Yep. So later in the show, we will give you the opportunity to join us live here in Zoom for a Q&A session. And I'm going to be posting the link for you to join. And also, again, as what I've been telling you during our live sessions, we would appreciate if you can post your questions in the comment section, or you can also send us a message via Zoom. So, yeah, we would
Yeah.
love for you to join us.
You know what I would like to hear is I would like to hear from people out there, like, what are the things that you think that you should not do? Like, just name one of them. I shouldn't do this because if I do, I'm going to lose my benefits. And maybe we're missing something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Something we can learn from everybody. So that would be great as I see people piling in here. All right, let's get into it. All right. So the first thing is I'm working on another monitor here, is not reporting income. Income causes lots of problems. And these tips are for those of you that are going through the application process and already approved. So if you're trying to get approved and you're like, oh my God, I only can make so much, and I know if I work, it's going to cause problems with my application, and you're like doing some stuff on the side, um, you know, people have been caught for that. So, like, if you're babysitting and getting cash, you didn't hear this from me. You know, that's gonna be it's gonna be tough to trace. But if you're doing something that you're working for a friend or paying you cash, you're in a retail environment, people see you there working. That's tough. So just be really careful about your income. So, and not only your income, it is massively confusing to understand like the regulation for how much you can make when you're going through and getting approved is different than the amount you can make once you're approved. So, and they get confused, right? So one is 1650, and what's the other one when you're approved? It's
What?
less, one
Yeah.
thousand one hundred and
1,100
ten dollars, right?
and
Yeah.
I think
So if you're,
1,160. Yeah.
what was the second one? 1100 and what?
1,160.
Yes, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
So if you're approved, it's 1,160. You want to stay 20% below that. And it's 1,650 if you are going through the approval process. So the regulation, you can get that from us, but that's really the deal. So make sure you don't screw those up and get them confused. I've known this to happen. I knew people that have been approved for disability benefits and they were thinking that it's the 1,650, which is over the allowed amount, working away, thinking they're doing it innocently. But bam, they've gotten nailed. So the result of that is an overpayment. And an overpayment is when Social Security sends you one of these not so friendly letters saying, hey, by the way, you've been working and earning too much and you owe us this amount of money and we're going to pause your benefits. So the challenge with those situations is they're not fun. Your benefits are threatened, and it's tough to get like legal representation because there's really no money in it unless you can pay out of pocket, which most don't are not able to. So that's number one. Doctoring is the number two one. And people go to doctors, typically that's not really the issue, but not going to doctors if you have conditions that you were approved for, like if you have a chronic pain situation and you have a treatment regime through physical therapy and seeing your doctors on a regular basis and you're not doing that, then you're not compliant with the Social Security regulations. And not being compliant gives them an opportunity to say, hey, you're on benefits or you're trying to get your benefits. And if you did things right, then perhaps you could work. So that's one. So in the work that we do here, our focus is to really emphasize the importance of doctoring and how to do it. It's not just going. When you go to the doctors, it's important for you to control the process and communicate your limitations and not just go in and emphasize and focus on the conversation around your condition. So can you sit for 15 minutes, can't stand for 15 minutes, can't lift 8 pounds, you're only sleeping 4 hours a night. Those specific types of limitations consistently in your appointments. That's where people oftentimes, like, maybe they get approved, they forget it, they did it for a while, they don't, they think they're annoying their doctor. No, you just need to do that all the time. I'm just telling this is what you can do to avoid the situations. Next one is communication. I know people that have had their voicemail full and have been going through the approval process or have had something happen and have the communication from Social Security, which they do communicate in writing, but they will call you and it's caused a challenge. So make sure that you have proper communication with your voicemail and your mail. People move, they have their mail forwarded, or they have home instability. It's really important that you keep up with all of the paperwork and the documentation. Hopefully, once you're approved, you don't receive information from them. Now, you can also check in an online portal, which is another way to find out if there's anything that's been going on with your benefits. So actually, I got a real life story and a movie to share with you in a moment when we finish this part up. So keeping your communication tight, misrepresenting your medical conditions. It's usually not an exaggeration in my experience. It's typically underemphasizing the severity of the condition. And it's, I respect the fact, and I'm going to call out you guys out there. It's usually men who take deep pride in the work that they do. They're used to playing hurt, doing things. But in this part of your world, it's necessary to clearly communicate the severity of it. And maybe you don't know how to find that out. And that's something that you could use some help with from somebody. But I mean, if you can't stand for 15 minutes, that's glaringly obvious. And if you are just really making a slight adjustment and thinking you can continue on, then that's not quite it. You just can't stand for 15 minutes. So really get a handle and be clear on your your limitations. Okay, we have two more left. Social media has been a problem for people. And social media is totally fine. But when you communicate information on social media that could lead Social Security to believe that I've got a fly doing a dive bomb on me here, that you could work, it's a challenge. So this is a real life situation. We had a young Social Security disability applicant. This was an individual that we were representing, and she had brain health issues, but she was physically solid. Like, that wasn't really the focus of her case, but she went on holiday and she was horseback riding on the beach. And Social Security says that they don't look at your social media profile, but I have heard, especially from Mike Sexton, who does a lot of hearing work for us, that they are looking at your social media. So this individual, her case was originally denied at the hearing, and it was able to go back and get it reversed because the focus of her case was not, wasn't emphasizing the physical component of it. But if that individual had anything back related in their case, then there would be a problem. So, and that's just the example that I'm giving you. There are others that are out there. So that's number 5. Here's the bonus one. Biggest problem that people have is they guess. They guess at going through the disability application process. And they're like, their brother-in-law told them, everybody gets denied the initial application. Just give it a try, and then find somebody to help you. That causes a real problem. That prevents people from getting approved, typically at the initial application, which right now the wait for just the decision is still at 233 days. I don't see that it's going to go down, although I was in a conference recently with Social Security, and they'll tell you all kinds of wonderful things, but I just don't see that. I feel the economy is going to get softer with all of the moves that our administration is making, which could end up being fine long term. But more people out of work means more people relying on Social Security, which is going to be increased amount of cases in the system. This is not a time to guess at your application. So our own self-directed commercial is we teach you how to go through the approval process. You can do it by joining us as a member. Once you're here as a member, you get connected with an advocate like Philip or Nadine, and they'll discuss your case and provide you with an evaluation. There's no charge for any of this. Then they'll put you into our disability approval course into the rate section. And then it's up to you to use the course, make sure that you execute it. And if you're like, you know what, I just want to have somebody do this for me, I'll follow along the course, but I don't feel good. I just want to focus on my health and all that. That it's a possibility that we could represent you and be a representative. So, but the course is free. Thousands have used it since it started in 2007. So there really isn't any reason to listen to your brother-in-law, I guess. You can come in here and use the course. And the course is put together with a lot of the guest speakers that we have here at the live. Different Social Security disability attorney, non-attorney representatives, lots of contributions from our members that are out there. So no guessing. When you get your overpayment, or if you get a CDR, same thing. We have courses for that. When you're going back to work, we have strategies for that. So that's our purpose here at the Disability Digest. So that fly, I'm going to get him before the show's over. One thing I want to share with everybody is, and this is unrelated, and I hope that people have put in some things that they're concerned about losing their benefits. But when I say unrelated, I'm going to find it here. Got my toolbar up. Okay. So I went to a conference recently with other disability representatives, and we had 2 ex-Social Security employees that were guest speakers there. And they spoke about the Eric Kahn story, which is the biggest Social Security ripoff in history. And this is a picture of him here. Eric Kahn was a disability attorney in Eastern Kentucky that was getting individuals through the disability approval system in like 2 months. And he was doing it by paying off the judges who didn't even hear the case. The case would get into the judge's hands and they just stamp it and approve it. He was paying off the doctors to create medical records. The whole thing was dirty and they had money everywhere spread around. So it's actually entertaining. He's a funny guy, and the marketing shenanigans that he did with like Hooter like girls and having his attorneys put certain scents on when they went in front of female judges, all these things were really quite comical. So it's available on Apple TV. It's really a good watch. It's got series in it. But one thing it will really enlighten you on is the flaws in the Social Security system, how this happened and went on for so long. So it's called The Big Con. Check it out. Enjoy it. Okay, so that's the part of the program. Now let's move on to some Q&A today. Who's going first today? What do you think?
We can have Philip go first.
All right, Philip Price, you're up.
I'm up. First question here is I've applied 3 times before in New Jersey. I'm now in North Carolina applying again with a lawyer. Do they see my application in New Jersey?
That's a good question. I'm going to go with yes.
Probably so.
Yeah. So this 3 times, this is the 4th time?
Correct.
Yeah. Something's not going right. If you've been at this 4 times, one of the concerns I would have is that, like, when did you stop working? How much longer do you have until your date last insured expires? So,
Yeah.
just like I said at the end there, the guessing part.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to give a shout out to everybody out there. Philip Price's group, it's over 10,000 members. If you're in it here today, great, welcome. But it's great support tool for people. It provides like the, maybe emotional support, is what I'd say. So we work together, which we have for I don't know how many years. What, 7 now?
7 years.
7 years. Time flies. So the connection is the Disability Digest has like the how-tos, and Philip running that group has like the support. So you can connect with others, understand their challenges, their issues, celebrate with them, which is kind of cool in the group, right, Philip?
Yes.
So, all right.
So yeah, y'all need, if you're watching, you need to go and register. Or when you become a member in the Facebook group, I'll send you an invite to become a member of the Disability Digest so you can get in and get all the help from me and Nadine and everybody, all the other advocates that are out there.
Right. And we do the same because people join us from other channels, and if they're not in the group, then we're like, hey.
Yeah.
And I can also post the link to Philip's Facebook group right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nadine.
You're welcome.
All right, next question. Just had my appeal hearing, sounded good. The ALJ said he's keeping the case open for 2 more weeks to wait for records. Is that a good sign?
It's a sign. I don't want to I don't want to go yay or nay. There's so many variables in a case that, if I say something, you're like, oh my God, Brian got it wrong. So I'm taking the high road on that. I mean, I don't know your background, your age, your work history, medical condition, what what you were, what do I want to say? If there were jobs found that you could do. So I hope and I pray for you that everything works out. And I do ask that you let us know. But here's the thing right now, if you have a 2-week window for medical records, that means there's some are missing. So I would make sure, like daily, that you're on it. And whoever you have for representation, get confirmation that those records are on file. If your doctor's holding them up, get with the doctor, go get them into the file.
Yeah.
All right.
This next question is similar to the last one. It says, in reconsideration phase, do you have to wait to be assigned a caseworker to send in your medical records or other information?
Typically the flow is the same caseworker. So the reconsideration is you're asking Social Security to reconsider the decision. Typically what happens is somebody will review the work that's been done to see if there's anything that was missed or if it should be reconsidered. So that piece may take some time to assign. But I would expect, I just say, if it took you 7 months for an initial decision, it's likely going to take you the same amount of time for reconsideration.
Okay. This next one. I'm in my second appeal for my SSDI claim. I never filed for SSI. I didn't realize I could. Am I able to do that now, or would it just be a mute point? Any advice anybody to give me, I would really appreciate it.
All right, so here's my advice. I would really take a look at the asset level to determine if you have a shot at it, because you need to be below the poverty line, basically $1,500 of assets or less as an individual, $2,500 or less as a couple. So if you like qualify for any SNAP programs or anything like that, then that would be a good indicator that it would be a shot. But if you don't and you've tried, then I would not do it because it could slow down your process. That's my take on it based on what I know. So when you do apply, for all of those of you out there that haven't started the process, when you apply for your Social Security disability benefits, you can also at the same time apply for your SSI benefits. But it's really good to do this like analysis before, because the SSI is a different financial computation that does slow down the process for the approval, and it definitely slows down the disbursement of payments once you're approved.
Okay. All right, this will be the last one for the group today.
Okay.
It says, is there a difference in status pending and medical review?
Status pending and medical review.
Yeah.
So if you're sent for a medical review, I don't know.
It's not clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I've got. Nadine, what do you have?
Yeah. So before we move on to the questions, I just want to read this shout out from Kai Zeus Lee. Good evening to everyone. Disability Digest is phenomenal and an asset for not just disability and benefits, but also overall life and knowledge. Good care team professionals, they are a blessing. I recently had surgery 3 days ago and have others pending. Watching and learning from this team has helped me mentally. Definitely has been medicine for my pain. I love you all for everything that you do.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I am now posting the link for those of you who want to join us live for Q&A here in Zoom. And while we wait for people to join us live, we also have a question here from Aris. He said, I have a question. My dad purchased a vehicle and dealership is going to give me $100 for taking my dad to the dealership to purchase the vehicle. Is it going to hurt my benefits in any way?
It's a gift, sounds like. It doesn't sound like a job, one. Two,
Yeah.
you're just on Social Security disability, as we talked about in the top of the program. That's way below the limit. So I'm gonna go with a definite no on that one.
Yeah.
It'll positively affect your benefits because you're getting $100,
Mhm.
right?
Right. So, another question here from Zippy. After May 7th, do you have to have a real ID to enter SSA office?
Mm, they call it the Big Six, but if you're a disability applicant and you've already applied, my understanding directly from Social Security is that that does not apply to you. So I'm gonna go with I'm not sure because those rules that they've come up with are really fuzzy. Um, one of the things I would just suggest is try to avoid using the local office. We have, oh, I'm gonna make you a co-host. Um, yeah, so if you could avoid or try to avoid that by using online services, that's what they recommend. Make co-host.
Okay, there. So we have Ray in the waiting room. Ray, if you can send us your question before I let you in the Zoom room, that would be fantastic. And while we wait for your question, we have another question here on the comment section. Age 52, not worked since 2020 due to treatment resistant, depression and anxiety. I just completed 16 rounds of ECT and still no help. As said, my condition isn't serious enough. So,
So it sounds to me, well, you're in the application process, which is good because you've been out of work for like 5 years. So this is the one you've got to win.
mm,
I don't know where you're at. That's a decent explanation. And if you are a member here at the Disability Digest, I'd definitely reach out and make sure that you get the right segment of the course. Where I'm going with this is if Social Security doesn't believe that your condition is severe enough, like in our disability approval course, there's steps that you can take to get the proper evidence. One would be residual functional capacity report forms. That's a mouthful. Um, these are forms that you bring to your doctor, have them fill them out. Social Security recognizes these are template forms, confirm that you're being treated, what their opinion is on your limitations, how many days a month you would miss work. If it's 3 or more, that's pretty much a lock on your case. That's just one thing from the course. So if you're not a member, join us as a member. Nadine will put the link in if she hasn't already, the Disability Digest. And then an advocate will get you into the right section of the course, explain it to you based on
yeah.
where you're at in the approval process. Sounds like you've definitely already applied, so it'd be one of the later sections of the course.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So yeah, we got Ray's question here, Brian. I'm not sure if this is him, but yeah, I think it's related to selling cryptos and selling stocks and how it affects income.
Okay.
Me, hi Ray.
Ray is working on his audio. Come on
Okay.
in, Ray. What their opinion is on your limitations, how many days a month you would miss work if it's. So
Hello.
Ray, if you would turn the audio off on the live,
I just
just
did.
work with us back and forth here, that would be great.
Yes, I just did. Uh,
Good.
do you hear me?
I
Yeah,
hear
we can
I
hear you.
don't see you, which is okay, but we would love to see you. We'll just hit your
Yeah,
camera.
I know. I don't look that well.
All right.
But I do like what you're doing here, and I really like the organization. I do want to make actually two comments with regard to maintaining the benefits. It is very important that you do follow up with your doctor and continue the treatment, and you do look at those medical records. I saw Brian, you did release the video of my comment on the medical records. So if your
I
audience,
thought I recognized your voice.
yeah,
Yes, you've been in before, Ray. Yeah.
I would highly recommend that you because there are those questions that medical assistants are supposed to ask, but they don't.
Yep.
And the default answers are not going to always be accurate. But I did want to mention one other thing. I do look at other channels. I don't know if that's a bad thing to say, but I do want to caution people out there with regard to um, social media. There are CDI units that are out there that are watching. They are continuing disability investigation units that do watch you. There supposedly is only two particular instances that would happen to you, and one would be during a CDR, I'm sorry.
Yep.
The other would be if a neighbor maybe happened to say that you were working or that you were mowing the lawn or um, you were seen at the beach or doing surfing, that sort of thing, that you really need to be careful about the things that you do, because that can call into question uh, about your disability. Same thing goes for social events if you have mental illness. If you're out dating or you're out in a restaurant, that's not going to that's going to call into question your disability. It's just a tip that I have out there that I'm quite conscious of. Now, I don't do it because I can do it. I can't do it. I do have social anxiety. So if they were to see me in a restaurant, they would call that into question, is what the example would be.
Interesting.
All right. So it's very important that you really need to be conscious of what you're actually doing. Now, I know that Mr. Brown, Attorney Brown, had mentioned about that the fact that, well, could you mow the lawn and actually still be considered disabled? And him saying yes, depending upon how many breaks you take. I really wouldn't even really do the activity
Mhm.
because that's really being really being blatant. Uh, if you want to put on your review that, yeah, I take a break every 5 minutes. Well, I tell you, if I did that at my property, it would take me more than a day to finish the lawn.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, lawns are different when somebody, like if you've got a big lawn, right? But if somebody's got a small lawn with a riding mower and they have non-physical limitations, one could say, yeah, you could mow the lawn and still qualify for benefits. I think what I'm hearing you say is that, right, you got a big lawn like you getting out there. That's a job, right?
It is, but I do want to stress the fact that I do appreciate Mr. Brown's um, comments and his advice. I think
Yeah.
he's great. Um, I just wouldn't choose to do something like that, which I can't, by the way, with a back condition. I just really can't do
Yeah.
that. I wouldn't even bother. I have people living here that can, relatives that help me with all of that. I don't really need to worry about that.
I
But
appreciate your perspective because it's always good to get it balanced out. The difference between you and Attorney Brown is that you are a disability recipient and he is not.
you know, and like I say, I just want you to know that I do listen to other channels. There's mainly only two other channels, and they're all coming from different directions, different perspectives.
Yep.
I think everybody out there is to help. I do like your organization. I do listen to the lives when they come out. And as I say, I think I could make a contribution maybe, but listen, if I sent a request to the support email, would you be able to talk with me?
Well, it depends what it's about.
Well, I have some questions with regrets, with requests to the advocate positions. So,
Yeah, so we actually have an HR department, which is you can send it there to start with, but there is an application that can be filled out, and if you haven't done that yet, then just ask for that on support and fill it out, and then that would get you in the channel. Listening to you talk, it would be definitely we're hiring, we're growing, we're looking for definitely for members that are disability recipients that are advocates. So we'd love to consider you.
yeah, I'm looking for that first step, and I can't seem to find it on the site. So,
Yeah.
um,
It's a good point. This has just come up. Is what we don't have on our website is like a careers page, and we're gonna get that taken care of soon. So we could just say go to the disability digest, scroll down. But so for right
Yeah.
now, it would be contact the support desk.
yeah, okay, then I'll do that because I think I can make a contribution for some of your members that
Yeah.
give some advice as to what I've run into.
Yeah.
And
The other thing I'll mention too, Ray, is we have a referral partner, a referral program where we compensate people for referring individuals in that are trying to get their benefits approved, like some of the stories that we heard. And when they're referred and they come in and they meet with an advocate, get into the approval course, that it triggers $100 of compensation. And when they get approved, whether they use the disability approval course exclusively or our representation, doesn't matter. As long as they get approved, the second $100 is sent out. So our focus is like for individuals like you that are in tune with things, is to ideally just encourage them to close that gap so that one, they don't quit, and two, they don't guess. Those are the two things that really cause problems. So that's something you could do right now. If you're not familiar with that, put that in your request so that you have that page to refer people to.
I appreciate it. Thanks, because it's something that's quite a bit of interest to me for, also, adding a little income to, my monthly benefits. So,
Right.
so that's really all I have to say. I appreciate Nadine, Philip, I appreciate what you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And all of you have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you joining.
Thank
Take care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Ray.
you, Ray. And I'm sorry for confusing you guys. I actually thought that the question about crypto is from Ray, and then I just realized now it says Jay.
Jay, Ray, Larry.
Jay, Ray,
Yeah.
all internet.
So
I was
AY.
waiting. I was waiting for Ray to drop the crypto question on me, and then
yeah.
I'm like, all right.
So Jay is asking, how does buying or selling crypto affect SSDI or selling stocks?
So if you're a day trader and you're going in and out of the market and you're doing that like a job, then that income is going to be at the end. It's something that you do independently. So when you file your taxes at the end of the year, um, which you do need to do, then it's going to be based on your taxable income. So let's say you made $12,000 over the course of the year between crypto and day trading, whatever it is that you're doing. And then that's your gross. So you would reduce your expenses, which is the typical IRS expenses. And then also encourage all individuals to use the separate expenses that you're entitled to as a disability recipient, which is like, could even be like a support animal, not cats, a dog. Maybe you can do cats now, I don't know. But just make sure that you maximize all of your expenses and reduce that 12,000 down to like whatever it should be. That's how you handle that.
All right. Thanks for that. And we have another question here from Jan Carlos. My application is at step 4, says checking to see if I'm still eligible for non-medical. Am I approved?
This is a common one, and it's super confusing. So you passed, in my opinion, you passed the hard part, which is the medical. So they've looked at your medical and say, okay, we understand that this individual qualifies for benefits. Now they're going in and looking at your work history. Have you worked enough to qualify for a disability check? And this is a little off topic, but I don't understand why they do it this way, because they should do that first. Like, it's one of the first questions we ask before people start the process, fill out all the paperwork and the forms. Have you worked enough? So
Yeah.
I would say it's good news. I'd watch your bank account. I'd watch your online account. I say bank account because at the early stages, typically you get your back benefits before you are notified. And then when you get that, you definitely let us know, especially if you remember, because with members here at the Disability Digest, once you're approved, you no longer need the disability approval course information. What you're in need of is information about your award letter, what you're entitled to, what you should pay for, what you shouldn't pay for, when your health care kicks in, all the other post-award stuff. So we adjust your membership status. So make sure you let us know.
Okay. All right. Another question here from MC. If I have a few thousand coming in the mail and my SSDI is coming in the same week, should I not reopen my bank account until I deposit my back paycheck first? I close out a retirement account, which I had forgot about until I receive a letter in the mail. Thank you.
So the retirement money will not impact your Social Security disability benefits. That's already been earned. It's already been taxed. So there's no worries there. So I would do nothing except just look at the money in the account and then proceed accordingly. And celebrate because you've been approved.
Congratulations.
Yes.
All right. So we have another one here, but this is not a question. I think just a comment for Philip. He said that he tried to join your Facebook group and it's still pending. So I just wants to ask you to accept him. Name is Franklin Miranda.
All right, I'll look at it.
He probably didn't
Okay.
pass the background check, right? You do a background check on everybody, Philip?
Just a little one.
All right. That's all the questions that we have in the comments.
All right. Good. Some good questions today. Good event. That was fun. Just a heads up for next week. There will be no live event next week. I am having the team meeting with our team here in the Philippines, and we're doing an offsite event. So we will not be here next week. We'll be thinking of you, but
We
we won't
will.
be here. But we'll be back the following week, and it will be at the same 5 p.m. your time Eastern. So good. That's it for today. So that's great. So perfect. Nadine wraps you up with a few minutes left to unwind before you're done your day. All right.
Yep.
Good.
And just
So
a reminder to
let's just
everyone.
go ahead.
Oh, Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, just in case you forgot to mention about Benny, I sent in the link to access Benny, our friend, who can help answer your questions. If we're not here, Benny will always be here to answer you guys if you have social security disability related questions.
I like what you just said, though, social securely, because if you don't do it right,
Se-
that's pretty much in line with our
It
topic.
ain't
Social
secure.
security,
See?
security. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so listen, folks, Nadine set you up with some links. If you are like many of you here are back here visiting again, we are so grateful for you joining the show. I'm glad you find value in it. This is really, we do this for you folks as an effort to help you understand how to get your benefits, keep them, maximize them. So as always, we encourage you to subscribe so you stay in tune with the videos and the information that we release so you can get the information that you need. One, if you're not a member, encourage you to join us. It's really the best way that we can help you. Your profile, once it's filled out, helps us understand where you're at in the process so we can get you the relevant information. Many situations you can speak with an advocate, get an evaluation of your case, strengths, weaknesses, things that you need to do, or other things that you're struggling with. So that's really the few key things here that we can help you out with. So again, thank you very much. And we will be back in 2 weeks. Two.
All right.
Got it. All right, everybody.